talk about the Dogs. Kirby Smart finding Georgia football answers. Can the quarterback position be elite? Who better to ask that question to than Mike Griffith joining us. Good afternoon, Griff. How are you?
I'm doing well, Paul. Thank you.
I love the backdrop. Are you at a park or your backyard? Where?
Yeah, just a backyard shot, Paul. Nothing fancy today. Just coming to you from the backyard in Georgia.
Well, let's talk about the Dogs. They've been a little quieter than usual nationally as spring continues on. What are you learning?
Well, I mean, Kirby Smart's got a work in progress. He's got a really young team. I think they had, 13, 14 guys at the NFL Combine, 16 NFL-bound players. So it's a massive reload. New quarterback and Gunnar Stockton. He's got one start under his belt. Of course, that was against Notre Dame. Came in second half, rallied Georgia to a win over Texas in the SEC championship game. So this is a guy that's proven he can get it done in the clutch, but does have work to do. Pretty big reload at receiver, pretty big reload on the offensive line. Got to plug in some new guys on the defensive front and an SEC conference that looks like it's going to be every bit as competitive as it was a year ago.
Mike, I don't follow it as closely as you do, but Kirby Smart was talking the other day and saying some very interesting things. Can you encapsulate what he was saying and what's it all about?
Well, he talked about a lot of different things. He talked about, the House versus NCAA. He also talked about his team. He talked about the coachability of young players, the importance of them wanting to be coached harder. He's got a lot of freshmen. He said at the start of spring drills, none of them were in shape. Said this team's got a long way to go. Said there's a standard, and if they don't make it, they're out. I mean, there's a second portal window. I mean, he pretty much put his team on notice. And, based on the observers at the last scrimmage, now the media was not allowed in there. Only the high-dollar donors were allowed in there and some support staff personnel that talk to DawgNation.com and the AJC occasionally. All indications are that they're coming out of their best scrimmage. Now, I don't know what that means for G-Day, the scrimmage this Saturday, but it sounds like Kirby got the results. Now, is this Georgia team going to be as good as they were a year ago with Carson Beck? I don't know that. But is any team? I mean, what we're seeing with this NIL right now is it really has leveled the playing field a little bit more in football, maybe not so much in basketball, where it seems like every team, including at Florida, they have 4 transfers. But he said, where's Cinderella? I said, they're wearing Florida on their uniforms. They bought their team like most teams did. Transfer heavy in basketball. You see that in baseball. Football right now, these programs that have tried to build from the ground up with freshmen, that's difficult. The teams that have been successful through the portal, like the Ole Misses, like the Ohio States, Texas to some degree, those are the teams that seems to have surged ahead. So it looks to me like you want some sort of mix of that. Georgia, though, going to be on a very young side right now, and they're going to have to get up to speed and work really hard and take to this coachability, because I think Kirby knows he's got a little bit heavier lift this season than a year ago.
Griff, when he talks about some players being out of shape, I mean, I understand part of it, but ultimately, isn't there strength and conditioning operation going on there? And who's that on?
Yeah, that was kind of my first thought, too. And I didn't want to throw the strength and conditioning coach under the bus or anything like that. I thought the head coach, he said what he said. I don't want to read too much into Kirby's words. That may have been more of an indictment on just having that many incoming players. But another thing Kirby said that I think, I don't want to say take it with a grain of salt, but certainly put it into perspective, is that he's got these guys on an accelerated schedule. The last scrimmage that they had, he said, was like the first scrimmage of the fall. So he's got these kids working on an accelerated schedule, well aware that with 25 midterm enrollees and 6 transfers, there's a lot more work to be done to get any sort of continuity and certainly get everyone up to speed with the playbook. As much continuity as Kirby has with his staff, which, you've been somewhat critical of, coaches he's kept, other people have wondered. But Kirby likes that continuity, that teachability when everybody's on the same page. And it kind of remains to be seen if that's going to work out for him. I tend to think, based on what I've heard, that Gunnar Stockton is an adequate quarterback with the supporting skill players that he has around him. It sounds like they've been successful in the portal, and a lot of these incoming freshmen, so far, they've kind of lived up to the hype. So all things sound good. They got a couple of warm-up games next season before they go to Neyland Stadium for a pretty big SEC opener next season. And Kirby's just got to get these guys in sync before it all starts.
Griff, everything that we talk about has to be put in context of Georgia is a defending SEC champion, but it just feels a little bit different, does it not, from that run a couple of years ago when they were looking for a three-peat, when they seem to have a stranglehold not only on the SEC but on college football. Can you look into the changes since then? And I realize they're slight, but it does feel different.
Well, absolutely, and I think I think they're more than slight. You can't stockpile championship talent anymore. You can't develop guys. You know, those guys that would stick around until maybe redshirt sophomore year. I don't even know if we're going to use the word redshirt much anymore, but sophomore year, junior year, those guys that were in line to play, to plug in the game when a guy goes out and you don't have any drop off, or to be ready to take the reins. I mean, those guys, they're looking for opportunities elsewhere now. They're saying, hey, why should I be team 2A or 2B at Georgia when I can take this fast money and go start in a lesser conference on a lesser team and get paid more in the immediate time? You know, Georgia's pitch is, well, if you stick around here, you're going to get more at a later time when you look at the guys that make it through their careers at Georgia and the percentages of those guys that are being drafted and where they're drafted. So there's a couple different philosophies right now. We're still kind of in the infancy of this NIL and this transfer portal and the immediate eligibility. There isn't a large case study that the student athletes can look at and say, wow, maybe I'd be better off being a second teamer at Georgia or Alabama or Texas than maybe going to some weaker secondary power conference like the Big 12 or the ACC and playing lesser competition and not facing the level of competition in practice every day, or not getting the elite coaching that you're going to get in the two conferences that seem to have separated now, the SEC and the Big 10.
Griff, you obviously cover Georgia, but you're all over the place during the season at various big games. Just in terms of the spring, we spend so much time talking about basketball. What are you hearing in relation to the rest of the SEC? What stands out? What are you most intrigued by?
Well, I'm intrigued by the delay on this hearing right now. I mean, because we're on the clock. I mean, right now, as we speak, Paul, the basketball transfer portal window is open, and these agents are very well aware of that. And they're trying to front load a lot of deals that, right now, that House settlement money, that $20.1 million cap, approximately, that each school is going to get, that's not in place yet. So the deals that are being cut right now, you can't apply that cap to that, at least not this year. Maybe next year you could have a bit of a bubble, but there's a lot of scrambling going around for players with agents trying to do a little bit of a money grab, maybe a front load, and get these deals done before that cap is in place. So this delay, while I understand certainly that the judge wants to be thorough, I think we've had, 5 years of litigation and, plenty of time for the buildup. It's a little, I don't want to say puzzling to me, because I understand that you need to be thorough. But as we speak right now, the game is being affected, by some of the transitions and transactions that are in place, because you have this basketball portal window that's open, and very soon the football portal window will be open as well. I believe April 16th. So there is some urgency to get this done and get this cap in place, so that we can ensure that the spirit of what we're trying to achieve is accomplished in terms of leveling the playing field and trying to put some guardrails on the process.
Great stuff, as always. Mike Griffith joining us from the green, lush fairways of, that's not Augusta, that is your backyard. Thank you, Mike. We'll see you soon. We'll take a short break. We are back with more right after this.